Apologize for my voice on after the game. All I can say is it all happened in the third quarter. You know, I was doing fine until the third quarter, and turnover, touchdown. So, you know, if we take the third quarter out, my voice would have been a lot better. It's great to win. It's great to have a win against a quality opponent. And I got to say this about our conference. Our conference is doing a good job. You know, Saturday I watched the games, and I had Virginia Tech on. And look, I've been to Blacksburg, and in Blacksburg you just don't win. I took some great Miami teams in there and left out of there with an L. I thought Ruffin McNeil did a great job in Blacksburg, going in there, beating Virginia Tech after they beat Ohio State, who's the #3 team in the country. So, you know, Ruffin McNeil has the power this week because, you know, for what he's done. I thought the game we played, a very, very good game, very capable game against a really, really good opponent. I don't know how our defense stopped this quarterback. It was just so impressive. Thank God, you know, for those defensive ends and Tanzel and Redwine, those guys up the middle, because they just did a great job. I'm going to start drinking coffee now because Nico Marley, you know, he's Player of the Week, Sports Illustrated, and, you know, I never drink coffee, but they got this coffee factory, and this kid is doing it with coffee, so I'm going to have to try some coffee because he plays sensational. Secondary played well. I think Perry Nickerson's playing probably the best overall in the secondary. I like what Dawson's doing, and I also like what Schofield and Monroe. Tanner had another good game. He'll throw some good balls in there, but he needs to learn, take what they give you, you know. And so as always, I'm jumping up and then I'm down. I'm up and down with Tanner, and he's learning. But he made some incredible throws, and then all of a sudden he throws it to him every once in a while. If he stopped throwing it to him, you know, we'll be better. Sherman and the backs played good. I like how Cedric ended the game. Offensive line played really, really well, and the receivers were very good too also. Any questions? First of all, he's a very, very explosive young player. I mean, and I like to call him one of my midgets because if he's 5'2", then I'm 7 foot. You know, he's very, 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 very small. But I'm gonna tell you what he is, though. He can run. He can really, really run, and he brings, I would say, the most leadership on that defense. You know, he brings the right attitude every day. He's a guy. If you ever watch his practice, he comes to work every day, and he is fearless. I mean, I look up and he's hitting a big guy. Looked like he was playing against a 7-footer, and I mean, he just knocks him back every time, and he'll make some incredible tackles. He'll pick the ball off. I mean, he just does so much for our defense. And I would say, if you ask me, who's the vocal leader on our team, it's Nico Marley. No, I think it was we had a plan in the summer to move Torian inside all along. We thought Perry would do some of the things he did. We really love Perry, but Torian was hurt last week, so it allowed us to bring Monroe down, and we had to play him down because Torian was the guy who was probably the most injured DB. And now he's back, he's full strength, he's physical, and as you know, he can run. And I think we got 3 good nickel corners now that we could do some of the stuff that similar to what we did last year. Yeah, I think it makes us a lot more because now we have speed. We got more speed on the field and more speed outside. You know, when you got 2 safeties who played as much as Schofield and Monroe, you like them playing safety. You know, you just don't like moving guys out of position. And now the way Torian's playing, he's playing well. And those 2 corners are, you know, they playing better and better. You know, it's going to be interesting second half of the season for us. You know what? I would say no because Nico walked in here. You know, these short guys, and I liken him to Santana Moss, a guy who I coached, and Roscoe Parrish. They walk in here with a chip on their shoulder, and Nico has a chip on his shoulder about everything, about school. You know, he wants to get the best grades in school. You know, he wants to be the first one in the room. So he has a chip on. He's got, and I like to tell him every once in a while, he got a little man complex. You know, he'll try to intimidate me about something. So he wants to be intimidating. But the thing I would say about Nico is, he runs. I mean, he just runs the show back there. You know, but besides Schofield and Monroe, he's the one guy that's in, and he'll be in this meeting room, and he'll start the meetings. He's that type of kid.
Kind of go off on he had some penalties at the end of the game. Were those frustration or were those just bad?
Who's that? Nico? Yeah, no. Well, what it was, and we send the penalty in, and understand Nico. Nico's 4'11", and he weighs about 150 pounds, and so he does the Superman pose. So the reason why he got the penalty because he kind of did too long. The pose wasn't bad. He just did it a little bit too long. And so it was inconclusive when we got the report back from the official. But I would tell him, do Mighty Man or something. Don't do Superman. That's not good for you.
But, I mean, he's a player that, even though he does stuff like that, if you look at his stat line, he's your dynamic.
Absolutely. He wanted to keep them out of the end zone so bad. And I was going to take him out of the game because he had a penalty. So, don't you take me out the game. And so then he goes in, he makes a play, and then I was like, okay. Then he gives me the Superman pose. So then he comes off and says, that's your fault. That's on you. I know, Coach. But he's good with all of it. Pride. There's a lot of pride.
We've seen kind of a trend with Tanner. It's kind of hard to tell, because it's early on in the season, where he comes out when he has the scripted plays and he's really good. And then in the second half, when he ad-libs, he maybe tries to make too much. Is this a freshman thing where, in high school, you get away with some of those passes he's trying to get in there on college teams?
Yeah, you know what? I think defenses are better, and I think he hadn't seen enough of enough defenses. They're not going to run the same defense that you just burned them on. So if he comes back and he tries to do the same thing over and over, he just needs to learn. Just continue to read your progression, do what you're coached to do, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. Look, if we can get a win, I'll play them on Mars. Just continue to pack the stadium, continue to play. I love playing at night, because one thing about the night crowd, now I love the student section. The student section, they were awesome, So I love the night crowd. I love the night skies. I don't mind playing at night. But, if we got to play in the day, I think I would like to turn the day into our advantage. One thing about the day now, when we start practicing in this, facility every day, then we'll have the advantage. When we have some teams come down here from the north, if we can stay hanging with them early, I really feel comfortable that we'll win some of those battles. Very, very, very important. I think Tanzel and Corey Redwine are the two guys that you asked me, who are the guys that have to play well, who reminds me of NFL-type, explosion-type players. Those are the two guys now. They just got to play well and play well all the time. And if they can do that, we'll be better. We'll get a lot better. But I think Tanzel's a tremendous athlete. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Warren Sapp, the guy we had at Miami. Well, I thought LeCedric played really well this past game because what he is, like I tell everybody, he's a battering ram. And when we need hard, tough yards, he comes and I thought at the end of the game, to me, that is how you finish a game off with a young team. You give it to your big back and let them just go pound them. And I just saw guys, if you watch the tape, they got guys just look like they were just flying out of the way and getting knocked around. That's how you finish the game. I think Hilliard's a young kid. Hilliard's a kid that's finding his way. One time you look at it, looked like Tanner took a sack or something. Well, Hilliard went the wrong way. He's going to make those mistakes, and it's no excuse for him. But he'll play better. He'll get better. I got to stop you coming to practice, but go ahead.
I guess are you still feeling around?
Yeah, you know what? There's some stuff that's going on in our offensive line. We're still trying to figure out the best players, where they playing at. If, a guy goes out or a guy's hurt, we just want to have the answers before we get to the questions.
Duke, you look at Duke and your quarterback. We talked a little bit about it after practice, but, they have playmakers, basically running back, wide receiver, and definitely a quarterback that can get the ball down the field. Maybe the Southeastern game, could that have been a dress rehearsal for what you're going to see
Well, I think Duke is going to have really good playmakers. I mean, they're ACC players. This receiver, number 3, should be one of the top guys going in the draft. He's going to be a handful. They got a big receiver. They do it the right way. They got a big receiver. They got a couple speed receivers. Number 4, 17. You know, so we'll challenge us. And then they got the freshman running back who's he's run for a ton of yards. The quarterback is mobile. A big physical offensive line. So they got a lot of players and a lot of weapons. We just got to play our game and continue to improve on the back end. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on these corners this week in Torrey and Nixon at nickel. But I think these guys they'll be ready for the challenge.
We've let you go back 10 minutes. Kicker, there was a 4 on the depth chart this week. Are you still toying with that, or
Well, the Oars, I don't know if Trevor will be back for the game or not. So we'll talk about. You'll see it when we get to the game.
David Cutcliffe, I think for a lot of private school programs, particularly programs that struggled for a long time, looked at him as a blueprint and how to rebuild something that hadn't been built for a long time. Where do you sort of see his progression? What do you think that he did so well that you did in the draft?
He went out. I feel he went out and got the players that he wanted. He's a very, very smart guy. He's always been a great quarterback coach, but he went out and got the players that fit at Duke, similar to what we try to do here, the guys who fit at Tulane, and I think he's done a great job where he's combed the country. He's got some kids from Florida, got some kids from all over, and he has the ability. He runs a great offense. They do a great job offensively. And now, he got this defensive end on defense that this 94 is a tremendous player now. He could play anywhere. And so he's beginning to pick guys from, other schools, North Carolina, Florida State and stuff like that. And he's not afraid to recruit against them. So he's done a fantastic job. Anything else? Thank you, guys.